Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome to another exciting race here in our continuing coverage of the Crosskeys Tournament. Today we have Breve versus Humbugh, and joining me here in the booth, we have HiQ as well as the amazing Ampharos. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to those wonderful people and let them tell you all about this crazy game we are about to play.
Well, if you've been following the tournament, I think the general idea of the game's pretty straightforward. They're going to be looking for 7 crystals to make Ganon vulnerable. All the doors are shuffled up, the items are shuffled up. There's going to be a whole search all over this complicated maze of a world. We're currently in the bracket stage of the tournament, which means these are 2 out of 3 matches, and we are on game 2, with Humbugh having won game 1.
Oh, I did not know that. All right. You said doors are going to be shuffled, so look forward to a door shuffle, people.
They're the doors between the overworld and the underworld. They are doors. Though doors in the community also can mean other things that are not shuffled here today.
Sadly. All right.
I really do like the door randomizer, but just not what this tournament is.
So let's see. We may still have a delay here. We're not starting right away.
Yeah, Breve is just finishing setup. I'm sure they'll be done momentarily.
It's a Donda special.
It is.
And we have some usual suspects.
Okay.
We'll get to the Donda special after.
All right. Usual suspect number 1.
Rise up, my boy. It's your time.
All right. That's a Lukey boy. He's been here before.
Yeah.
He knows how it goes at this point. And we got Mr. Free.
I cannot hear. Well,
New face, new name.
I'm here.
You know, new contestant. Because the game stays the same. It's the players that change.
Exactly.
so Breve is watching some Spanish YouTube channel.
Give him a little sign
I think.
Mr. Free, come on.
Oh, I still had Breve navigating a dark room. Let me refresh and see. I'm just going to say that is a remarkably horrifying sprite that Breve is using, despite that sprite just being a color variation of a classic one.
All right, and here we go. It looks like we are 8 seconds from starting.
And to go with that start, we have a pair of Sank starts with a somewhat helpful Eastern Palace map in the first chest.
Everyone's least favorite sanctuary location. It does give you access to the items right away, but not a useful place to start out for exploring the overworld.
I will say I actually really like seeing the Uncle start here, not because it's helpful to the runners, it sure isn't, but I just feel like when the starting location's inconvenient like this, it puts a little bit of a heavier emphasis on routing, and for a high-level match like this, I think it's going to put our runners through an interesting challenge.
Sure.
You also always have to love seeing that sewers key early. Always raises questions about whether you're going to be forced to get the Dark Cross chest the slow way from the back.
Well, I can't remember the last time I've done that. Doesn't tend to come up. So
all we need is a lamp and 3 Hyrule Castle doors to land in the Dark World. It can happen.
So we're getting a sort of traditional start from both players. Fake flippering to the witch's hut, and then they are going to fake flipper again to check the drop across the way. And then, no matter what it is, they will hooligan afterwards to have money for the bottle vendor.
I will observe that they both located the main door of Desert Palace at the potion shop, and neither chose to go in. That's a pretty common play to avoid that early in the game. It's a lot of walking for one item, and you really don't feel that motivated to check the connectors. But just worth keeping in mind for later.
Yes, and I strongly agree. I get mocked for leaving Desert until I have items to do more than just the one item. I don't generally like the Houlihan start. I feel like there's too much money in the prize pool, the item pool, to make this worth it. I tend to do something else.
I do feel like both players kind of optioned into this after Sanctuary was at Uncle Tunnel. Maybe there's a little more apprehension about long walks for supplies, given that we don't have good starting locations.
I suppose that's fair. So they're both doing something I consider sort of non-standard. They're going off to the eastern area. Yeah, eastern was a red crystal.
I do actually kind of like this after Houlihan, because if you run into a bomb shop doing this, you can just buy them. It greatly increases the odds that this play is going to work out for you.
This is the way I open, to go down to these two entrances straight from Link's house. Getting kills along the way for... You get kills from 4 different prize packs if you do it right. So you get a pretty good chance at a bomb.
And you pretty much automatically set up for 4-kill tree pull anyway, because every rock those Octorok shoots dies and counts as a kill. But yeah, so far we're seeing not very much in this direction. We saw the bottom of Spectacle Rock Cave, which is a lovely piece of information, but no material progress.
Well, I do not like this opening going to Eastern right away. Not at all my preference. Okay,
well, Humbugh immediately gets rewarded with bombs. That's not anyone's favorite entrance to farm for bombs, but this removes most of the remaining risk from doing this right away. Though he's not getting even one bomb, that's interesting.
I think some people, I guess, don't know about that bomb or how to handle it well. But yeah, I'd certainly farm bombs here.
I probably wouldn't farm many. I would probably just take 2, but I mean, even one bomb, like you find Agana's cave, that's the thing you're scared about doing this first.
I'd definitely take 3. So we have Ganon's Tower here at the eastern location. Game's making a fool out of me, giving you 6 bombs.
Let no one accuse this randomizer of lacking a sense of humor. And Ganon's Tower this early, you really can't do very much with it. But it's really valuable just to know it's here and easily accessible, because it just lets you look at certain combinations of items as automatically opening a lot of stuff without having to ask whether GT is accessible or not.
Yeah, I suppose that is an out-of-the-way location. Time-consuming to get back. Not my favorite location for Ganon's Tower.
It's just often, in my experience at least, a big decision point. You find a hammer and hook shot. It's like, do I do the stuff I know I can do with these, or do I hunt for GT? GT with stuff like that, or Kane plus Fire Rod, same difference. It's just so much stuff that I feel it's actually often very easy to prioritize, even if it's a long walk to GT, just knowing you can get to it at all.
So, nothing of real value. They did get some bombs, and they got some. Let's see, what do they know? They found Meyer at the front castle entrance.
We've seen one entrance at Turtle Rock, we've seen Ganon's Tower, and we know when they see the Spectacle Rock connector, they don't have to take it.
Okay, so this to me is a mistake by Humbugh to not do what breve is doing. Go straight for the... Well, I suppose he could be thinking about waiting to make it easier to get the Dark Cross jumping down to Sank Basement, because he does have that key.
Yeah, that's kind of the big decision point here, is what breve is doing most of the time will work out overall better, but there's a real possibility it blows up in his face and he has to redo this walk to go and get that one chest. And Humbugh's covering for that. It can go either way, really.
Breve might be headed to... Be interesting. He could be going through desert here. Yeah, I think so. That is the best location for Ganon at the magic bat drop.
I agree with that. You don't have to worry about a drop blocked by Hammer now, but you know Ganon will be very easy to reach later.
Yep.
I will say I'm not a huge fan of this backtrack to desert now with so many entrances at large. Because you always have to figure the most likely place for any given connector to take you is the Dark World. And the Dark World would not be a very appealing place to be spit out right now.
Yeah, I prefer not to take connectors until I have at least the mirror, but preferably also the pearl. Or I'm at the end of the natural end of some route.
Yeah, and I think it made a lot of sense, like when they both checked the Elder House connector when it was just convenient and it's a short, easy connector, but backtracking for this one, we'll see how it works out. Breve could end up on the mountain, and that would be a big deal. And speak of the devil, there's the mountain.
So that is very nice, depending on... Ooh, Humbugh's having a little trouble with Mini Moldorm Cave here. A lot of trouble.
That is about as poorly as Mini Moldorm Cave can possibly go. Oh my, Moon Pearl and Spectacle Rock.
So, Breve, this is definitely the Old Man Rescue Cave. So he will be getting the old man here. He needed to use some bombs, so he's not fully comfortable with this connector in the dark.
It's pretty common. Like, the movement with no items, there's just no feedback on it. You can get used to it over time, but it's definitely pesky.
Yeah, I have a timed sequence of inputs that I have memorized, so it's free.
You know, deep down, Breve was really hoping for that fully vanilla mirror right there.
Yeah, I may have missed some things, but Humbugh. Okay, seemed like he forgot an entrance there. Okay, I see what he's doing. Never mind.
So yeah, I was skeptical of going to desert, but this has worked out about as well for Breve as they could have hoped. A glove and knowledge of where the pearl is a very good combination of things to find.
And of course, rescuing the old man. Alright, so Mini Moldorm round 2.
Speaking of dangerous enemies, that dead rock sure seemed to want to help escort Breve off the mountain, but Breve managed to get out of the way. It is kind of a little thing that I think it's easy to overlook, but when you find the mountain super early in Crosskeys, and you have absolutely no usable items other than bombs, and only 3 or 4 hearts, it can be a really big problem if you get bad RNG from the dead rocks and boulders. There's often just nothing you can do.
Alright, so we got a bow out of Mini Moldorm Cave there. Oh, I forgot about this. This is a nice bomb farm in Kakariko. And health. That was kind of a mistake then, not to leave reset Mini Moldum earlier.
We find some very easy boots from the bottle vendor. CAC is paying off decently well. Boots and bow so far, and here's Blind's Hut for 5 more mystery items. But honestly, assuming Breve is going to go get those boots and bows soon enough, I have to think the early routing's paid off a bit for Breve here.
Yeah, it's costly in terms of time, in terms of the revisits he may have to make for Desert, and to come back here with the mirror to get the pearl and do all the things that he just found. He found the EDM Fairy Cave, which he is now going back to go through, and he found the bottom of Paradox Cave, which he can't do anything with.
If you're going to find a Paradox Cave entrance in the Dark World here, finding the bottom is in some ways the best, because you can just know that you're never taking as a connector. You'll deal with Paradox Cave when you find one of the other pieces. And oh my, what a fortuitous place for this cave to spit Breve out.
Perhaps not so fortuitous. Means Humbugh will go to the same place pretty easily and have the boots for longer. Not too much longer.
It's from the Dark World, so Humbugh won't be able to reach the Light World Mountain from there. Unless he goes with the mirror, in which case you'll get the pearl in that trip and it'll be crazy efficient. But that seems a little unlikely right now.
Yeah, I also wouldn't take that connector backwards right away anyway, but both players are already doing things I would not do. Yeah, so it's just too long to want to take with better options right away.
I like how that became take that connector backward, but that's totally the vanilla forward way through that connector.
Yeah, well, it's the long way, so it's backward. I didn't see if I know Breve peeked at the item. Did he collect it? There in Spectacle Rock. The 5 rupees.
I don't believe they did. Honestly, that's not too big of a deal. The only real reason to collect it is so you can hookshot across later, but how helpful is that really going to be?
In general, if I've invested the time to go up there, I will do that. Unless it's an absolutely terrible connector, but with Sanctuary useless, I think I would have done it. Now we have the hookshot to do it.
Yeah, you can certainly think about that hookshot at least. And neither player is going to be getting the advantage or disadvantage, however it may be, of not being able to connect back to the middle of the Lost Woods. That's just not a very good place to go, in my opinion. So I certainly can't blame them for not wanting to create a connector to that sort of out-of-the-way corner of the world.
Breve will have the glove here to check this entrance, and Humbugh will have the boots to check the other entrance.
Spiral Cave is... Well, if this is a good item or a very important connector, this is a great find. But most of the time, this is about the most annoying thing Breve could have found here.
Yeah. You don't want to go through it twice if you have to mirror on the other side to check an entrance.
I do feel like, though, given... Breve can be reasonably confident they're the first player to glove. So, when you find Spiral Cave in a place like this early, you gotta do it. But it's just agonizing, because you know it's so likely you get something like this, basically guaranteeing you have to go back. At least it came with a sword.
Yes, the sword eases the pain. Alright, so Humbugh finds Desert right at Bonk Rocks, and he will now go through it.
That's maybe the best entrance competitively Humbug could have found there. Because it not only immediately puts Humbug on the route to the glove, but it's also just erasing Breve's big sort of advantage here, which is having that glove. Because now it's inevitable that's going to equalize very quickly.
We are already getting several suggestive items. We have seen, I believe, 2 Ganon's Tower small keys, and we got the big key out of the uncle. And that's interesting that Humbug died there rather than exit the left side.
Yeah, scratch what I said about that being inevitable. That tells me Humbug is not very interested in seeing where Desert Left goes. And with what we know, Desert Left would be pretty important. And speaking of important, Glove leads straight to Hammer. So, Hammer, hook shot, we've seen a couple GT keys, GTs at Eastern. It's not a mystery to me where we're going to find our mirror.
Yep, that is behind Ice Armos. Well, not necessarily. Maybe upstairs with the big key. But GT somewhere.
Of course, don't make the most tragic mistake in Crosskeys and climb GT without a fire source. It is a very, very sad feeling. What would you say is the saddest feeling? Doing Spike Cave without the glove, going to Helmassar King without the pod big key, or climbing GT without a fire source? Which one hurts you the most?
I have never gone to Helmassar without the big key. That's a... Boy. The Spike Cave is the one that happens, and it's so far out of the way in non-entrance. That's just infuriating. I'm just gonna not count going to Helmassar without the big key because I just that's not a mistake I've ever made, and don't think I will ever make.
I have made that mistake exactly once. It felt as bad as you probably think it felt.
Yeah, because of the... Let's see, we've got Breve here. What's he gonna get in here? Oh, what are they gonna get in here? I did not check the pronouns. Oh no, the boots were on. The boots were with the bottle vendor.
Is Humbug gonna go and get the Dark Cross chest here?
Yep. I think so with the hook shot. Hook shot makes dealing with the key rat easy.
So this could be a fairly significant chest competitively. If this is a big item, we can expect Humbug will have it for likely quite a long time before Breve gets it.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I was about to say I don't think he's gonna get it. He lost the key rat. Yeah, so we're looking at Ganon's Tower somewhere for the mirror. The fact that we have the big key very uncomfortably suggests it's upstairs or in the big chest.
Yeah, we're still in a little bit of an interesting item situation. With 2 small keys, Ice Armos aren't in logic yet. With no fire source, upstairs isn't in logic. But a lot of the pieces are there, and honestly, it's likely enough that the missing pieces are in Stalfos' room.
We've got a bow, so... I'm not sure... and now we have a fire source. I have not been paying attention to the drops, so I do not know what is at the pyramid. I think it's the useless fairy, actually. Pretty sure it's a useless fairy. Right, so that's...
But yeah, that lamp even more... GT is just screaming at them at this point. See, Humbug hasn't found his way to the mountain yet, but honestly, even if you don't have a way to the mountain, what does that really change in terms of the decision making? Like, that just means he has to think the pearl's in GT, right?
Yeah, that's what I would be thinking without the information that Breve has. It's so weird to see this Kakariko being done this late this way. Yeah, I think this is a small key of something. So another thing to keep in mind is we have straight access to Meyer there. We have the hook shot. We have the lamp. We have the lamp, and we have the big key.
Humbug does get the nice little piece of information that the Fairy Ascent connector is not too significant here. At least not at the moment. It could be useful just as a way to get back to the mountain later with Mir.
Humbug might be getting the 2 available chests in Turtle Rock. But then he doesn't have... What is he doing? He doesn't know either.
I thought for a second, based on his movement, Humbug was about to climb.
Yep.
Then he might have realized, you know, I can climb. It's in logic. Do I really want these 17 arrows to be against the world, also knowing that I can't kill Moldorm 2 because I don't have a sword or hammer?
Yep. Yeah, that might have been it. He forgot he didn't have an item to kill Moldorm 2. So he has everything he needs to clear the front of Meyer. He cannot kill Vitreous without Samaria.
Honestly, I think from Humbug's perspective, with what he knows and what he's seen, Meyer's a great call here. It's 7 items, and Meyer's often kind of sneaky in the way that the items to access it are overlapped with other things, but it is 7 of chest.
Yeah, I would absolutely do this in his position. Not nice to not have one small key to make this easier, but too bad. Also, he could get himself in trouble with the spike chest with only 5 hearts.
I feel like as long as his movement's clean, 5 should be fine. It basically just means he's not allowed to get hit anywhere else in the dungeon.
Well, that solves that.
That is what we call in the business a bailout. So everyone's friend Stolfos' room had a whole lot of nothing for Breve, but definitely the more intriguing chests are the ones a little deeper, just based on what we found so far.
And what Breve did there, I don't know if they were counting their keys, because you're giving up something by spending the key to check that double firebar room. Now you can't complete upstairs if you want to.
Breve doesn't have a fire source, though, so I feel like that's a relatively safe call.
Well, you may not want to, but I'd be incredibly suspicious with the big key and bow so early.
I would also like to point out this is a miraculous seed. Both players have found different bottles before either one has seen the sick kid.
That's a nice find. That'll get Humbug. Humbug just found the flute there in the Meyer Big Key chest. That will get him to the glove and eventually the hammer. And quick access back to GT.
It's very common in these seeds that the glove isn't very logically important. There are often connectors that get you where you need to go otherwise. But it's hard to overstate just how valuable the glove is in terms of, or the flute is in terms of just raw time savings over the course of a long seed. And that glove, knowing that Humbug is going to quickly get the mitts, is super intriguing. I don't really see the flute being in logic anytime soon, but that is fast access to the Meyer region.
Yeah, I think Humbug, it'll sort of depend on how alert he is with the logic, because he shouldn't really chase that mirror too far without more Meyer keys. I think I said those words correctly. Anyway.
I do think it makes a lot of sense to just activate flute and go to the mountain, because you know it's reasonably likely there is a connector that leads you to the Light World Mountain anyway.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Though it looks like Humbug is actually just going to rush to the well, which is actually kind of obviously the correct play. This is 5 items. He knows exactly where they are. And we know it results in a hammer, which is a great reward.
I think the idea is check this on the way to activating flute. So Breve found nothing. I think. Maybe a mushroom was the one thing.
There was also a bottle, if we care about that.
Yeah, so as I was thinking, that climb is looking very suspicious. So Breve will get this small key. I forget what it was. Oh.
That is definitely helpful for Breve. That means the climb will be very doable.
Interesting that Humbug detoured away from the flute activation. Get to the sword, but otherwise we'll also have to backtrack here with the mirror.
It makes a lot of sense to just check that one out-of-the-way glove entrance on your way. You see Spike Cave, you roll your eyes, you just do it, and probably not too happy with the outcome.
Have we seen the old man safe warp?
No, we have not. I feel like Breve should check that soonish. I'm not entirely sure what Breve's plan is coming back to the mountain here. Oh, hookshot East Mountain. That's a very logical plan. Though we know that both gloves are accessible, so that one mitts-locked entrance could be a little spicier than usual.
Humbug doing everything except go to the mountain. What's he coming back here for? Oh, fair enough.
Yeah, I don't love this play instead of activating Flute, because the fact of the matter is these checks are just faster with Flute.
I think, no, he fluted here. He fluted to 7 to get here. He's just doing this before going up the mountain.
Oh, that makes total sense. You're just chasing down loose ends, knowing that mountain could be sort of a long journey.
And yet, that is our third GT small key, so the climb is calling. And with that, oh, so okay, so Breve has already checked the old man save warp front. They must have, because the back is at chest game now. That's what they just did. I did not see where Humbug found Thieves Town.
It's at the Ice Rod Cave entrance, but I have to wonder, have you been keeping track of all the drops? Do you know what Aga 2 leads to?
I'm fairly sure it is the Useless Fairy.
That definitely makes climbing a lot more appealing, knowing that you... Well, actually, do you skip Aga 2? Because it's a real quick way to check the pyramid item. Well, real quick's kind of an overstatement, but it's a faster way to check the pyramid item than potentially taking a bunch of connectors that might lead to East Ark World.
Yeah, I'm still not spending all that time.
If you find the mirror in Upper GT, does it change your mind?
No, absolutely not, because now I'm getting the pearl quickly with the connectors, and I'll check that on the way.
I guess especially when Humbug's situation with the flute, you just flute to 5 and go to pyramid that way.
It's that's a real cute move. I would just okay. So Humbug, excuse me, Breve there got the altitude glitch, where if you connect one of those mini Moldorm's drops while in the air, it will mess with the bomb knockback, so you cannot do the bomb jump. Humbug first to mitts. Again, interesting to think about whether he will keep in mind that his flute is not in logic yet. Interesting that he did not go for the kill on the... Go for the 2 chests on the left side, the big key chest and the chain chomp there.
Somehow having a sword, a lamp, and boots makes rescuing the old man so much easier than it was for Breve, who had absolutely none of those things.
So this is a GT key in Mimic Cave. So the race is on. Who will go upstairs GT first?
The funny thing is, the main play that Breve has left, that Humbug has done, is diving into Mire. And based on what we know, honestly, even if Mir is up GT, going into Mire first is almost assuredly a rewarding decision.
Yep, better to have that flute than run away from it with the mirror.
I mean, it's not just the flute, it's also the mitts, which, even if the mitts aren't logically required for anything, just the convenience and navigation of having them is very substantial over the course of a seed.
So I think we're going to get Well, I don't know. Breve has not done... Breve could be thinking Key Rat, but probably Meyer here. There we go.
Yeah, meanwhile, Humbug's going to the Eastern Mountains. So we're going to have a seed where both players rescue the old man and then find the old man cave by walking to it.
So, Humbug went into Thieves without that big key. Breve could find it and do everything except the big chest.
Yeah, I'm always really skeptical of the Back of Thieves without the small key because only the chest and blind cell is in logic. But, I mean, you never know. It's a question of, are you more comfortable with gambling that early game progression isn't there, or making the late game gamble that there's never anything in that big chest?
Yeah, Scholzer is pointing out something I was not fully paying attention to. I think Humbug skipped the middle chest that, the middle entrance behind the dark blocks that he could have got with his mitts.
Though he might have just been checking them in a certain order, and when he saw the old man connector, saw no reason not to check it, because you can literally warp right back here. Oh, nope. Just not thinking about the implications of those mitts too carefully, I guess. In fairness, that it's not usual to check that entrance from the bottom. It's far more common to get to the top of the mountain and just fall, but this does come up.
No one expects 30-minute mitts in Crosskeys. So it's time for him to go to GT. And he, I believe, will almost have to climb. He could do things like go to the Meyer area, which he probably knows is out of logic. He could trade that it's the Maiden Cell chest in Thievestown, but he might otherwise be out of options that he's at least thinking of.
Yeah, and especially given that it's really likely your next logical item is the mirror, and it leads to Pearl. Meyer area is a whole lot more appealing with a mirror and a Pearl in your inventory than neither of those. Because what, are you just going to try to lead Murderdactyls around and damage Super Bunny into all the caves with 6 hearts?
Yeah. Not too hard, but not appealing, and also probably not worth. Theoretically, logically, they could also do a bunch of bunny walking. They have logical access to that, the chest game through the back of the Old Man Save Warp.
And we had another connector that led to the Vanilla Swamp Palace entrance, so obviously that one's strictly inferior to the chest game entrance.
So Breve gets Flute. Breve has obviously not done the Ice Rod Cave area, hasn't found Thieves yet.
That Flute plus mitts has to have Breve's mind turning. You're like, okay, I know that Flute is out of logic. The mitts are in logic. Mitts are such a weird item to get in the early game. What are you supposed to do with these? And yes, Crosskeys is a world where 41 minutes in still counts as early game.
So that middle entrance is another thing that's actually looking suspicious there on East Death Mountain. And Breve may have that in mind where Humbug accidentally skipped it. Oh, that'd be good. That'd be the mushroom turn in to find the mirror somewhere in Dark World. Not likely, but possible. Ooh, I don't think we have seen this connector. Yep. Okay, that's a new one, but not especially interesting.
It reduces the number of checks you have to make in the Village of Outcasts later, but yeah, not what I would call great value.
Yeah, so Humbug is going for ice armors before checking the big chest. That strongly suggests that he intends to climb if he finds nothing here after ice armors.
I mean, like you said when Humbug made this play in the first place, at this point, I think you're kidding yourself if you don't climb. Like, maybe there's an answer somewhere else, but something Wolfie said to me once that I ended up agreeing with more the more I thought about it. If you think a check is ever in the future going to be your best play, and it's the fastest it's ever going to be to do right now, you should just do it. Even if you think maybe you can avoid climbing right now, what are the odds that climbing never becomes your best play through the whole seed?
So the middle entrance of much intrigue there held just a Dark Palace small key. This is another thing that's in logic and interesting, these two Dark World entrances. This is kind of one of the only things the mitts could lead to. But not the answer. Not a connector that goes somewhere interesting.
And that's honestly just a little bit painful, because you have no way whatsoever to Super Bunny that right now. You're going to have to make a side trip just for that chest. So, kind of lowish percent GT climbs are definitely a thing that comes up in Crosskeys from time to time. Different runners have very different comfort levels with it. As far as they go, this one isn't too bad. We at least have a sword, and we have a blue mail for comfort. The bow is definitely... Well, I guess you'd always have the bow. The hammer is definitely one of the nicer little comfort items, too.
And we have two bottles. I'm not sure what's in them. I'm pretty sure green goo is in one of them. So Breve is in a position where they are probably going to do... Alright, so Breve's stream is lagging, so I might not see what that big key is. But I'm not sure Humbug has that yet. No, he can't have that yet because he just got... He just got the mushroom at a GT. So we have an unknown big key that is not in logic, actually. The random room is not in logic without 4 GT keys. They only have access to 3 that we know of.
But you can't get too hung up on that just because it's entirely possible the last GT key is just the next logical progression anyway, and you never really care if you find it.
Yeah, that'd be beautiful to find the 4th GT key upstairs here, and then the mushroom is our progression.
Though, what big key could that actually be to be our next critical progression? It's not immediately occurring to me that any of them would make a real difference.
Yeah, we don't have access to any big chest at this point. We've seen ice and swamp, but we cannot get in there. Humbug is in trouble. Half a heart left on, and dies. So as you were saying, different runners have different comfort levels with low percent upstairs GT. Humbug, I think, has to just restock and come back.
I honestly think in this situation, I would just go right back in, but... Oh, I guess you need more arrows. You literally can't. That's...
He's going to go for the
pretty much the worst.
The single chest in Thieves Town, and hope that's the answer.
I think he's going for his mushroom turn-in is what he's doing.
Oh, and for potions. Yeah, okay. Other things he could do some fake flipper shenanigans. I don't think either of them have done that. I would actually do if I'm having trouble. I think I do that before either of these plays. I hope the
I don't
hobo
think
has
there are
something.
any. There aren't any arrows in Thieves Town, are there?
Yes, there are. There are arrows in the room where you pick up the giant rock, and probably others.
Because, yeah, at this point, honestly, Humbug might be coming in here just for that arrow pot then, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I forgot about the fourth chest, but Humbug didn't go for that one.
Oh, yeah, there's also that one that everyone always gets, but that would be pretty out of the way. But, yeah, we did discover the one in Logic chest is the Desert Big Key. So that's another in Logic check is Desert Big Chest.
Yeah,
That is very tempting, especially with Flute. It's honestly not even that slow.
Yep. We have also found Lanmo's section of desert, but we don't have the small key to put that in Logic.
Not that I anticipate that would particularly stop these runners from doing that.
I do not remember where desert or Lanmo's section was. I didn't track it. Wonderful.
We got some valuable knowledge of where a crystal isn't. Thank you, Blind. Your contribution to this seed is appreciated. But honestly, you don't feel bad at all seeing a pendant out of Thieves Town, given that the Desert Big Key was in Blind Cell. It's extremely likely at this point the desert is a crystal. We just found one of the pendants, right?
So I think this is going to be where, yeah. I think this is Lanmo's. Yep. So we're... Breve earlier stole the key here, so they will walk that back and just use it to kill Lanmo. Possibly reset if it's a pendant, I guess. That'd be sensible if it's the other useless pendant. All right, so Humbug,
And of note, Humbug did not get any arrows in his trip through Thieves Town.
get the arrow pot I was talking about. I do not know where he's gonna get them. I have not been tracking the prize packs.
Actually, his plan might be simply to get arrows out of desert with the Desert Big Key. Those are very well-known arrows, and those plays make sense.
Yep. Ooh, we have an NMG Landmo fight. Good times.
I'm not gonna lie, I would just be doing this with Hammer.
Yep. Breve agrees.
It is worth noting, though, Hammer Landmo isn't free. Like, it can be fast, but it's really easy to miss space and take damage in this fight.
So Humbug is doing something I suggested these runners might do, which is check some fake flipper things. Alright, so that's a comfy find.
Yeah, I can't actually think of any out-of-logic item that you would be happier to see there. It just means when you find Eastern, you can full clear it, and it doesn't really enforce any action on you otherwise. And you even get a crystal along with it for extra comfort.
Oh, I don't know what Breve could be doing here.
I can
don't
tell you
think-
what Breve didn't do, which was check Desert Big Chest after fluting to 2.
Yep, I think this is a King's Tomb. Yeah, Breve hasn't checked this yet. So Humbug will not be able to get the ledge item without more arrows to Ancilla Splash. Well, there's Eastern that Breve could do out of logic before anything else. Actually, can you? Yeah. Was that the shovel there on Zorledge?
Yeah, and you can do Eastern out of logic there. You just have to swim through one of the doors on the left or right and die.
Yeah. But you don't even need to die, just go in the pit.
Yeah, though that will fully erase your fake flipper state, so you're not going to be able to go to Zora after that, so that can be a little bit awkward.
Humbugh gets his arrows. So now he can check... can get that shovel. And go back to GT. I was worried that wasn't fast enough, but he got it.
Yeah, I think that was right on the cusp of fast enough or not, but on the right side of it. So Humbugh gets his shovel and also gets the secondary reward of knowing he is never coming back to the Zora River area. Well, Breve sees a big key on Desert Ledge. So we already know we're really hunting that mirror. That's just compounding the value even further. Though at this point, it's increasingly likely that's going to be one of our favorite big keys, either Swamp or Skullwoods.
Alright, so does Humbugh have that desert big? Yeah, because that wasn't Thieves, and he did that. So he may also be going for Landmo here, and he knows the location of Eastern. He may just go straight back to that rather than upstairs GT. They both know they're out of logic, I would think. Oh, here we go. Murder Dactyl fake Super Bunny opportunity.
Yeah, I really don't like diving into the Mire region here. Just knowing, like, you're gonna find Mirror soon enough. It leads to Pearl. It's just, this area is so much better to do later.
Yeah, fluting the Mire is not something I would have done before upstairs GT. But fake flipper in, yep. Again, perfectly sensible. Breve will have the opportunity to finish Eastern.
Breve struggling a little bit with the swimming movement, but made it somewhere here. I personally, upon seeing Eastern here, would just do it. There's almost no downside to just clearing Eastern right now. But Breve might not be comfortable with what you have to do. It's not complicated what you have to do. It's just kind of weird.
It has caught some people, that swimming state. I'm fine with the Thieves Town, and then upon the Desert Big. We know Eastern's a crystal. No reason not to do it out of logic, and maybe find some better weapons for upstairs GT, but you need the mirror, and it's got to be soon. So Breve may actually have a bad... Yeah, and has fixed it now. So there's a hidden variable that can mess you up. Interesting. I don't know why that didn't work unless they did the bombs wrong to try to fix their index variable. But there's a hidden variable that can get set to a bad value that will guarantee that you fail and still a fake flipper delete. And you can fix it by dumping 2 bombs in the water and pressing the button a 3rd time before you can set another bomb. And I thought Breve did that, but did not get the fake flipper there.
Shoutouts to the shovel leading to the powder, by the way. I can't think of anything I would have liked to see more there.
This is another thing. I was actually forgetting about this because I thought they would have done it earlier, but Chain Chomp chest is in logic here. Still very unlikely given the items we have pointing to upstairs GT, but in logic. Would be interesting if this was a GT small key. Actually, that wouldn't be that interesting, would it? Because we didn't find anything except mushroom, which we learned leads... Well, kind of interesting. So here we go. Humbug going back to where we think he needs to go.
Yeah, it feels like Breve just wants absolutely no part of this climb, and I think we both suspect at this point they're going to regret that.
Yeah, I would have had no problem with either of them doing Eastern before going here, but I think... not the answer. But I think Breve's next move here is to go upstairs, just behind Humbug.
Yeah, I mean, going to Eastern is a pretty free play here, but I can't think you could justify really any play that isn't either clearing Eastern or going upstairs. And yeah, given the overworld location, going upstairs seems to be on the agenda.
So I need to take a break, and this looks like a good time. A couple minutes before they get to items, so I will be right back.
So yeah, this is really just all about execution. Anyone who's played non-entrance seeds especially has done the GT climb a million times, but this is much leaner on equipment than you would ever see in a standard seed. Mostly there's just not a lot of health here, so normally you take careless hits here and there doing the GT climb and it just costs a little time. Here it makes you fail. Like, Humbug's already kind of in the danger zone for this climb. 3 hearts with blue mail should still be okay, but it's just a little spooky. Or then again, Humbug could just say, I'm risking nothing. I bought these potions specifically to make this climb free. And honestly, fair enough. You get no points in this randomizer for finishing the game with a potion in your bag. And when you have low equipment, Land Mode 2 is deceptively annoying versus Land Mode 1. That fireball shooter... Well, I'll just say whoever at Nintendo had the idea how to make all the Light World bosses harder. Like, the ice doesn't really make Ice Armos that much tougher. The different shaped Moldorm room honestly makes the fight easier. That fireball shooter is a real pain in the butt. It makes Land Mode considerably more annoying than it is in Desert. And to answer a question in chat, you only get bonus points for unused potions in a randomizer race when you go really far out of your way to get a safety potion, and then you die with the potion in your bag and then finish the game without using it. That's the trick. It looks like Breve got bounced out of GT. I was actually looking at Humbug doing some of the more technical rooms and missed exactly what caught Breve, but this is a big deal because Humbug's after the hard part of GT. Everything from this point on is basically free. And we're about to see 4 new items that are all, well, 3 of the 4 are in logic, and the 4th is practically accessible, so we're definitely going to check it.
Yeah, I'm back, by the way. Given the items, I think we're all expecting Mirror in the free Moldorm 2 chest. So it looks like Bree may have bailed out on the climb.
Yeah,
Started
I
in-
was focusing on Humbug doing a more technical room, and then I look and Breve's suddenly down here. And oh, what a shocker! Look where the mirror was.
Who could have guessed? And that's, of course, because of the key count. You need 3 to get to there, and we have exactly 3.
And then this chest is going to be junk, but you have to check it anyway, so it is what it is.
So, I think Meyer area is calling now. Most sensible move, I think. Oh no, Burrow first. And then
Yeah, I don't think there's any world you justify not beelining this Moon Pearl. And after the Pearl, honestly, you probably take the bridge over to the Eastern Mountain and get a few entrances up there.
Yep. Both are going to have to go back through Spiral Cave to get to Mimic Ledge if they want to check it. Spiral Cave was at the Old Man Risk bottom. We see that ice is our other useless pendant.
In principle, I like doing Eastern Palace before the GT climb, even knowing the climb's probably the answer. Just because it could make the climb easier and you lose very little time doing Eastern right away. The part that just hurts for Breve is the fact that the climb was halfway done and abandoned. Overall, we know both players had climb deaths, so that should balance out. But when you're racing, especially in a high-level, high-stakes match like this, you feel really bad about failing a play like that.
But yeah, I guarantee that both players are going to feel behind for the rest of the match. Humbug had that death. They both did all the wrong things before going to Mirror. Or at least will feel that way.
Yeah, Humbug is thinking, too, like, you know, I was on the right path to Mirror, to Pearl, to everything, and I messed up and I died to Landmo 2. Really the last place you could plausibly die in Ganon's Tower, and it just feels real bad.
And then, of course, he did not go immediately back. He went off to do a bunch of things that, although he would have needed to do eventually, probably would have been faster to wait to do. We needed that desert key out of Thieves. And feels bad to orphan the big chest.
I'm also going to throw out there, especially with Moon Pearl, making the fake flipper stuff just that much more convenient. My next play as Humbug after getting this Pearl and resolving this overworld route would be going and clearing Eastern.
Oh, yeah. They both have the map. They both know it's a red crystal.
And we saw on Breve's side that Eastern has basically nothing in it, but like I was saying, that's really fine. It doesn't change anything. You are going to check all these chests eventually anyway, and all of them but one are directly on your path.
Yep. There was a full heart container, and that's not nothing. Especially with Fighter Sword.
I don't know, I think we're, especially with GT Climb already done in Blue Mail in the bag, I think we're starting to reach the point where the extra value of more hearts is very low. Because what, they're both at, is that 9?
Yep. Alright, so Breve is going back for just Start Cross backwards. This is in logic. Interesting that we both kind of forgot about this as a logical thing.
Yeah, it's kind of similar to how you were feeling about the 2 chests in Turtle Rock. It's like, it's something I was thinking about a lot, but at this point it just feels like something people should have done by now, but this is our first look at it. Oh man, we just need one more shield, and then laser bridge is in logic if we can find laser bridge, which maybe we can't.
We spotted a sword there on the floating island.
Oh, here's a very convenient fact for Humbug. You can actually use the Turtle Rock portal. That's something you often don't think about in Crosskeys, because how often your first time up here do you actually have Mitts and Hammer?
So, Breve is really going down the, well, I hate to say it, but rabbit hole. Really hoping that anything except the climb is required.
I'm going to be honest, this bunny walk, this is a race-losing decision, because Humbug is already ahead for having the Pearl, and this bunny walk could easily cost another 5 to 10 minutes that Breve frankly doesn't have to give.
That's really interesting that they're not going to go get that heart container when they're probably avoiding the climb because they're worried about the low percent. Yeah, so I'm actually not sure how Breve got so far behind with Humbug taking that Landmo 2 death.
Well, they both had a death in the climb, so that about cancels out. Otherwise, they kind of exchanged points on a lot of routing stuff. I just think Humbug was a little cleaner throughout.
Yeah, boots earlier. Flute earlier. Mirror was in the pre-Moldorm 2 chest, which was very easy to anticipate given the items we had.
Yeah, different people have different views on how much you can read the logic and guess what it means. It's a lot less powerful than it was in earlier, more predictable versions of the randomizer, but every once in a while you get a seed like this one where you get a ton of items pointing to exactly one location, and it turns out they mean exactly what they seem like they mean.
Yep. So Humbug collected the cape somewhere so he can get everything at the pyramid when he gets there. That is checking the middle entrance on top of the castle.
I did note Humbug was disinterested in the pod entrance. That makes some degree of sense. You're hoping for Cane and Fire Rod before you check that entrance, so you can check it mirror and go back into GT for right side, but
yeah, I agree. I would
if
have
that
done the
entrance
same.
is important, that could be a little bit of an inconvenience.
I don't know. It's not any slower to just get back to than work it into the route you were doing, so.
It's a nice Master Sword, negating the need to use the cape you just found.
So Breve is doubling down on the bunny walking. Now taking that Elder connector to Swamp.
And Humbug's about to do one of the easiest sequence breaks commonly seen in Crosskeys. It would never come up in a non-entrance randomizer because you need the Fire Rod to open the back of Skull, but it is quite an easy bomb jump to do back of Skull with Lamp if you can get inside. Similarly, Humbug gave us a good demonstrator of something deep down I think most of us already knew. That being that Quake is not a very good medallion in this game. It kills a couple of enemies like Wizrobes and Pink Gators, but most enemies it just stuns. And if the enemy was problematic enough you wanted to use a medallion, that stun is probably not going to last long enough to do what you want it to do.
So Breve collecting potions, which almost has to be for the climb now. Interesting that Humbug didn't want that key. I don't think he's been to the rest of Gull yet. I mean, could be useful.
Humbug probably just thought about it after hitting that Gibdo and was like, I bet it's faster to just grab the key from the other part of Skull in the pot than deal with this. Hey, Ether is not useless there. Ether opens up the Turtle Rock main entrance.
Okay, so I'm seeing on the tracker that Humbug thinks Hera is the green pendant. So we have full crystal information, one would think. Or Humbug does, anyway. Wow, I'm not sure. Oh, he has to do this because he spent... No, he doesn't have to do this. I don't know why he's doing this. I mean, you have
probably
full Dark
just
World
because
access.
he's here.
Yeah, you have full Dark World access. You're going to find the front. It's faster to do it that way.
While obscure, it's still possible the front isn't going to be accessible to Seed. If, you know, one door's in GT and the other two are in Muskinex.
So, Meyer area, one would think. Thank you.
And Humbug hasn't spied the item yet, but we know that he's going to get a big key here, and it always feels nice to pick those up. Of course, we have a lot of bad big keys relative to good big keys left in the pool, but you never know. Maybe this is the Turtle Rock big key, which is the main one that they're still looking for. Oh, what a shocker. It's the Skull Woods big key.
Well, not terrible to find that before having to go to Skull Woods. Let's see, what do we need? Let's do an inventory for Go Mode. They need Samaria, both rods, and flippers and some keys. So we need lots of stuff. Not close to Go Mode. Need to find a dam. Why not mirror there? I guess he jumped down there and I didn't see it.
Yeah, that's the part where you regret jumping down on that side, not into the Spiral Cave entrance, but you don't regret it too much because you're probably going to go back through Spiral Cave just to check Mimic Cave anyway.
So Breve momentarily forgot they didn't have the fire rod. Cannot do this room traditionally.
So Hype Cave is still at large, right?
Correct.
Because I'm just thinking in terms of what is Humbug really hoping to find in these entrances? Probably mostly Hype Cave, Laser Bridge, I guess Sahasir. Maybe Hera. Like, Hera's fast enough, even though it's Green Pendant. Maybe you don't really care.
Yeah, I think there are still two item caves left. I think the Mire Shed and one of the ferries is still left.
Hookshot Cave, of course, is still out there. That would be a pretty solid find. So yeah, that has to be the panic moment for Breve. Like, on one hand, you're happy you didn't just climb GT for nothing. On the other hand, like, you have to know you're not the first one to that mirror.
Yeah, so Humbugh should be working his way toward the village of outcasts. He has seen... Oh, or not. Oh, just the one entrance here. Not sure how much he's done there. I think he's only seen that the old man save warp exits there.
Hey, if they'd picked up those 5 rupees early in the seed like you wanted them to, then Humbugh could just hookshot over and go straight to the woods. Which would be useless, but he could do it.
I maintain it was a good early game hedge against a possibly terribly connected world.
Yeah, whereas we've actually gone in the direction of a very nicely connected world. Because at this point, you have Flute, Mitts, Hammer, and Mir. Everywhere is relatively fast to check. The way you lose a lot of time in Crosskeys is when you have to take sequential connectors and long walks around the overworld. Here you can just use all the portals like in vanilla.
Yeah, we have some pretty good save warps and connectors along the way, too.
Humbugh getting to enjoy that satisfied feeling of finding the bottom of Super Bunny Cave when you've already found and cleared the top.
Okay, so... Oh, he hasn't done Easter... Yeah, that's... Maybe a mistake in my mind, not having done Eastern already for Humbugh. Despite not having the flippers to do it.
Though I will say, even if Humbugh had done Eastern and was able to buy the Super Bomb there, I wouldn't have bought the bomb.
Yeah, that was not the time to do it. And of course, you could be looking at Flipper's Go mode. Smith was at the library, so Humbugh just made a mistake by coming up this far. And now he's got to go back. Yeah, so for anyone tuning in, we had a pretty rich early game, other than that we found the Pearl early on top of Spectacle Rock without finding the mirror. We had many items pointing towards the GT climb, and the mirror ended up being in the chest we suspected, the pre-Moldorm 2 chest. But both players did a bunch of things, Breve especially, before doing that, and both likely feel behind, but Breve will be correct.
Yeah, at this point, Breve's only advantage over Humbug is having cleared Eastern, and that doesn't actually lead to any items. It's just a crystal.
I'm trying to think what I might do if I were feeling as behind as Breve might be here. I'm probably going into ice as soon as I can, given that I know that we both know that ice is the useless pendant.
Returning the Super Bomb is a reasonable play if you really feel bad about how things have gone. So I don't agree with Humbug going back through this connector here. Humbug has found Ether since his last time on the mountain. Why not check the Turtle Rock entrance?
Yeah, just sort of wants to stay on his route, I guess, but with flute and mitts, you can get back here kind of easily.
Spike Cave at Hammer Pegs here is kind of an eye roll. Like, you gotta do it, but it's just annoying. I am no fan of Spike Cave.
Yeah, he has 2 potions, so won't feel bad, really, but... I think
Castle Tower Small Key is the slightest bit spicy there. Though, remember that this cape is out of logic. It was behind all the small keys in pod.
Yeah, I forget if Spike Cave is in logic with our 2 bottles and health. I don't even remember if we've put health in logic for Spike Cave. You would know.
It traditionally was not. Because the situation with it was just you weren't able to put all the health in logic. It just slowed down the seed calculation too much. And it just... the amount of health you actually need to clear Spike Cave is enormous. And you can try to factor in the bottles, but that gets weird fast. Like, 2 bottles with 3 hearts, if you don't have a bug net, is not going to get it done.
Yeah, I guess bottles are... you need at least 1 bottle with cape or something.
Yeah, and of course, if you get a bug net, then you have to calculate, can you get fairies, which is usually yes, but not actually always yes. For anyone who's not aware, if you're looking to clear Spike Cave in your own play, having a fairy in a bottle is really efficient because the respawn invincibility after you die and are fairy revived is much longer than any other temporary invincibility in this game.
Okay, so now we may see Humbug actually... he may have just wanted to do purple chests first. Nope. Not going back to Hookshot Cave.
Yeah, at this point I agree with Humbug going through North Dark World. We know there's not too much exciting here from Breve's side, but Humbug hasn't done it yet. It makes all the sense in the world. And clear out front of Skull while you're here.
Humbug switching to cape, getting ready to weigh down that switch with the cape. Coming to a bit of a realization that a different strategy is needed. And yeah, it's definitely the case. We're starting to look fairly thin on items here. You have to believe the next progression is going to come soonish. Either that or we're just fishing for the dam entrance, and as soon as we find that, the seed's going to open up in a hurry.
Do we have flippers? I don't think so.
I could be arguing that the flippers are in the dam, but yeah, that's just on the list of things we're missing. So there's a lot of... They have a lot of problems they need to resolve.
Yeah,
and the possibilities are getting a little narrow.
Yeah, kind of looking like it's got to be Hera or Laser Bridge somewhere. Although Laser Bridge, more and more likely to be one of those force connectors. Yep. And a way to get into Ice Palace is another likely thing. If the game sort of forces Humbug to go into ice, that might be the last... That might be deleting the last real option for Breve. Because that's sort of Breve's only hope is maybe doing ice where Humbug tries to stay out.
Of course, if you find either Ice Palace access item, you're immediately thinking about the fact that you still don't have Dam, because there's not a ton of places left for Dam, and Back of Skull and the Mire entrance are both very plausible places it could be. And either Ice Palace item opens one of the two.
Let's see, Mire is Bombos, okay. So I don't think we've seen we haven't seen Dark Shopping Mall. They don't have the flippers to logically get there, but I imagine that won't stop them. And then Catfish.
I think we're actually en route to a classic Kern jump coming up soon from Humbug, unless this castle does some remarkable things, which maybe it does.
Almost likely that it does at this point.
The Boomerang was feeling just a little bit eager this seed. It moved higher up in the castle than it usually is. Is Breve opting out of Moth? That is a very surprising decision to me.
Well, I think they may want that sword that they just got before doing it, and now they will.
Now, from Breve's perspective, the odds of a sword in that entrance were very low.
Well, I mean, I think they were planning to do the super bomb at some point and come back with more items, and now that they got that sword, that's good enough reason to do it now.
Yeah, that's definitely possible in terms of thinking. Oh man, this room not going great for Breve. The Gibdos just decided to have a conference right on top of Breve's location, and the Wallmaster wanted to join in.
So I didn't actually see it, but I think we could only have gotten here by Kern jump on Humbug's side. Oh no, he came out of the bombable wall there. Okay, so this is in logic. Alright, so now the only real interesting item-bearing locations left are Hera, Hype Cave, and the dam, which we need.
Honestly, that makes continuing to check entrances super appealing, because there's a very small number of entrances left in the world for there being 3 such premium entrances left. You know, that's actually kind of a funny thing about Randomizer. For a lot of things in gaming, when you do something and it is rewarding, you want to do it more, and when it's unrewarding, you want to do it less. But, like, you're checking entrances here, and the worse your finds, the more you want to check entrances even more. The better stuff you find, the more you want to stop checking them.
Interesting that Humbug hadn't done this entrance before. I guess I just never sequenced it that way. So now we may see a Kern jump to get to the Dark Potion Shop and Catfish. Oh, I'm simply confused about where he was. Never mind. So where was the right castle entrance? Was that the Dark Lumberjack hut?
Somewhere in that area, I think. I do like this play to get the second chest in Castle Tower when you're walking by. Kind of one of those little tasks that's easy to put off forever, but when it's on your way, it isn't really that costly to just do it.
So pod entrance. Humbug skewed this earlier to head towards the pyramid. May take him a while to get back here if you find something else, so if this is good, like Laser Bridge, could be interesting.
That being Laser Bridge is interesting itself. I guess it's probably the front door Turtle Rock goes to Desert Right. I think that's the only must connect remaining.
No, we've seen the top. We've seen the top of. We've seen the front of Turtle Rock somewhere. Hang on.
Well, okay. I guess here's the question: what connector haven't we resolved? Is it the Death Mountain exit cave? I guess we haven't taken.
No, we've seen that. Breve went through it at some point.
Though we did find the fire rod on Laser Bridge, and Breve is heading straight to Skull Woods. It makes all the sense in the world. This is now a full clear, including the entrance. And with what we know from Humbug's increasingly thorough exploration of the world, the odds are rather high the back of Skull entrance is something good.
Breve no longer has a shield. Yeah, I don't know what connector that we haven't seen, because I'm doing an inventory in my head and I feel like I'm thinking of all of them.
I mean, unless I'm just wrong, if we come out of Desert Right and I don't remember it.
I think we actually have come out of Desert Right. I wonder if Humbug Bean right here is going to be thinking about doing Eastern. Alright, so there we go. Hera, that was one of the things to find, and that is at the Skull entrance. Humbug's going a long way to something. Or not. Yeah, so he's finally doing these two chests.
With how many items we're missing, you have to feel the odds are pretty good that Hera pays off here.
Yeah, I agree. So, I mean, this is, yeah, Incoherent saying exactly what I was thinking. This is a very slim possible out for Breve, but this is one of the, well, they're two very interesting things.
I mean, that Turtle Rock Big Key is hard required to beat the seed. So that's a good thing to find. I don't know that it's likely that Humbugh is going to find everything else he needs without eventually bumping into this.
Yep, but he has isolated it. He does not want to do it before. I don't know what could lead him astray, though, at this point. Maybe Samaria.
If he really does find the dam and flippers, that could go on a deep dive into Swamp.
Yep. So I think... I don't know.
Though if we want to talk about isolated entrances, or isolated items, let us just consider Hera Big Chest.
I'm sorry, did we...
Or not Hera Big Chest, Hera Basement, Hera Big Key.
Oh, yeah, okay. So how does... It's interesting that we haven't seen Breve get that. Oh, Breve doesn't have the book. Where was the book?
Oh, I remember Humbugh getting the book, but I don't remember where.
Maybe Hookshot Cave. Yeah, Incoherent thinks also Hookshot Cave, so that sounds likely. And Jinxie, our tracker, confirms it. Hookshot Cave.
I'm also going to say I'm a bit surprised that Breve did not pen check there. So you already have 2 pendants, and you can get the third one.
Breve may not care. Breve may feel so behind that they're clearing Ice Palace no matter what, and they're going to pull it blind.
Oh yeah, no book. The book would make pen checking kind of... The book's an important item to be able to read the pedestal. Because, see, Hyrule is not a world of high education, so if you don't have a book, you just can't read.
You also can't get the Pod Big Key, which is required. Humbugh now putting it to use. Oh, yeah. Breve hadn't been here because Breve bunny walked here.
This is going to be a very educational cave. Breve finally going to learn how to read.
Also going to get a sword. Also going to have a chance... I don't understand that. Also going to have a chance to open Turtle Rock. Which Humbugh could have done. Had a chance. Opted not to.
Hype Cave's still out there, and it's really likely Hype Cave has something important in it. But yeah, I guess Breve came out of Turtle Rock as a connector, so that's ruled out. That Meyer entrance, on the other hand, with that Bombos medallion, that's pretty interesting, I'd say.
So Breve is immediately going to get the Pod Big Key, probably join Humbugh in Pod.
So Humbugh's overworld clear, I think, is a lot more thorough than Breve's at this point. But in terms of material progress, I think Breve is actually ahead right now. That's
Yeah,
kind of an important point, because if Breve just keeps following the deeper threads here and doesn't just check a lot of these entrances that had a whole lot of nothing in them, Breve could just kind of hold on to this.
Yeah, that's. I feel like the. I mean, ultimately, I feel like the overworld clear is going to catch up. So what was this connector that I forgot? Maybe Bumper Cave. Yeah, okay. Not Bumper Cave, but... I think Humbug's really got to do Eastern, or... I'd be really antsy about not doing Eastern if I were him at this point. Laser bridge is at the pod entrance. It has the fire rod, which leads to Hera, which has the Turtle Rock Big Key. So it is required and out of the way, and Humbug has isolated it. He may be he's probably waiting for, among other things, the fire rod to go back to the pod entrance with the mirror. Go to the pod entrance with the mirror and mirror to GT at the same time. So he will never get the fire rod before going there.
Humbug is about to give us a new entrance or two, that being Mimic Cave and the top of Spiral.
Yeah, I don't think this has to be the... Well, maybe it has to be the dam because of the flippers. Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing that would stop the dam from being in the Mire entrance, right?
Boy, I kind of lost track of where the bombos and whether through fake flippering we got it, but...
And I mean, honestly, even if you need flippers to find the dam and the dam is behind the super bomb, is that actually a problem? You could just have to find flippers to access Swamp Palace, which kind of works.
Alright, so Humbug now going for the pod entrance, yeah. So this race sort of a lot closer than we thought, given the early game problems for both runners, and ultimately seemed like Humbug had a very large lead. Definitely has a large lead in terms of exploration, but it may not matter.
This fire rod's going to be a very significant find regardless. It's required to beat the seed, and it's just going to open several decent options for Humbug all at once.
And you know, I was saying that maybe Humbug Breve will feel like they have to go into ice to catch up if they find Fire Rod or Bombos, but now the Fire Rod, the progression it leads to is at Skull, and Humbug has orphaned that. He may feel like that's not the right way to go, and he should go straight to ice, and maybe he'll find nothing in there.
Of course, Breve might be thinking about ice even more, as that Turtle Rock Big Key leads to the Ice Big Key.
Oh, Humbug is going for the Skull entrance. This makes sense, though, because he knows Hype Cave is out there. He must find the dam. Oh,
Of course, I don't think we've seen Capacity Ferry or the Ice Palace entrance as well. Obviously, those are logically flipper locked, but I was saying, there's no reason the dam can't be flipper locked.
Given that one player has 14 bombs and the other has 13 bombs, we have absolutely seen Capacity Ferry.
I mean the entrance.
I think we've seen that too. I don't remember what it was. But someone was on there and fluted away, I think. Maybe not, though, because I don't think we've seen... What's an ice pass? Oh, wow.
That's a big deal. Like, well, maybe it's not that big, because Humbug inevitably is going to want to check the Mire entrance, and that'll lead him right to turning in the green pendant.
And there's no way that he's here and Herand is not going... Well... Yeah, I don't think there's a way he skips killing Moldorm now that he's here. But
so both players have gotten hung up on probably the flippers and the Cane of Samaria as the items that are really gating them. But honestly, given where the Turtle Rock, Big Key, and Ice Rod were, getting hung up on those items might be a blessing in disguise. Because there's probably a way to play this seed that finds the next step of progression much faster than these two, and then full clears the world before finding Hera at Skull entrance with Turtle Rock Big inside, and then Ice Rod on the green pendant.
so it's looking like Breve has to decide whether to take Super Bomb now or not. Chooses not to.
I can't blame Breve for that, but based on what we know, it's honestly pretty tempting.
Oh yeah, I think they might do it right after the dig game and then just work this route backwards from the Hype Cave location. Not the pedestal. Chad is disappointed. Yeah, so Smith is an easy turning here. Humbug going for... Oh, I should have this entrance marked. Not why. Yeah, I was wondering why you're leaving. There's another chest back there.
Yeah, that's a little bit of an oops, but at least one that was realized quickly. Granted, I think we know this item is nothing important, but you don't want to be in the habit of forgetting to check things you easily can that are near where you are. It's, in the long run, not a race-winning strategy to forget things like that.
And Humbug's lead in exploration is doing its work here. Breve is going to go through this whole South Dark World route that Humbug has already done without finding anything. Whereas Humbug has almost nothing left other than to find the Ice Rod here and go to Ice Palace, where our next progression is likely to be.
And honestly, if you're just not gambling and you're just trying to play your best game, I can't really blame either player for staying out of ice. The tools to get in came pretty late. The big key came even later. It's a pendant. It's not the world's fastest pendant, especially without the Cane of Samaria that is still conspicuously absent. But yeah, ice is probably the answer here. It's not quickly obvious what the alternatives are.
Yeah, Humbug may be in... He's not entirely out of options. Well, he may be out of logical options. He could do Eastern without the flippers, and then do the Super Bomb, but this might be his last logical location.
At this point, Humbug might be thinking that he might be able to go mode Eastern Palace. Because Humbug's go mode at this point is just Cane of Samaria and flippers. And whichever one he gets first tells him about a bunch of stuff he can skip.
Do we have the swamp small? Looks like they both have it tracked. I didn't notice when that happened. Anyway, we do need to find the dam, but that's almost certainly at the Super Bomb entrance now. It could be at Ice Palace or... I don't think the Upgrade Ferry, but maybe.
But either way, you know the dam's not at GT because Swamp's a crystal, and you have all the overworld navigation items other than flippers that, well, for one, you can fake flipper, but for two, you're going to get it anyway.
Good old-fashioned Ice Palace bomb jump. Breve also deciding that it's time to go to ice.
So yeah, Humbugh's exploration advantage, I think, has now fully dissipated, and it amounts to the time it takes to clear the part of Ice Palace that doesn't have items.
Well, I don't know that I agree with that. I think there's still a bunch, like, Breve has not done any of the castle entrances, right? Hasn't been to Dark Shopping Mall. There is still a potential for Breve to look for things in places where they are not. It may be that once we find the flippers here in Ice Palace, that it won't make sense. Yeah, see, Breve now leaving Ice to do those things.
See, this is kind of agonizing because I'm not going to lie, the second I get those flippers, I'm really tempted to just roll the dice and hit the mirror. But man, it's not really a smart thing to do.
Yeah, Breve. So for those asking in chat, Breve left Ice likely because they have a lot of entrances left to check. They know that Hype Cave is out there somewhere. They know they need to find the dam. Might feel bad. They might feel like, and they know they're behind, so they might feel like staying out of ice is the answer to trying to get ahead. And that will not work out.
Yeah, it kind of feels doubly bad to go to Ice Palace, start working on it, and then leave. Because at that point, no matter where the items are, you've locked yourself into time loss.
Yeah, you wanted that hair small, you got it in the iced tea chest. So let's see.
If Kana Samaria's down there, we're going to be here for a while.
Let's see. Is it only Samaria that Humbugh needs for go mode?
Yeah, because with flippers, Humbugh can now, even logically, if we care, beat Eastern. We know Dam is accessible somewhere, and that means a full clear of Swamp is possible. Samaria would let him finish Mire and Turtle Rock. He has everything else for them.
Breve would not be ahead if they had stayed in ice because... well, I suppose if they had also then gone straight to wherever Samaria is.
But honestly, it was pretty likely Breve would have been ahead staying in ice. Because you stay in ice, you get the flippers. Whether you beat ice or not, you're still ahead of Humbugh because you have the Eastern clear in terms of material progress. If you're like, no matter what, I'm hunting Dam and committing to Swamp, that's probably the correct play with what we know, right?
Yeah, you would have. I mean, you would have had to really want to do those flipper checks compared to all of South Dark World. Go through the castle to Dark Shopping Mall. Okay, so maybe we have not seen this entrance here. Certainly haven't seen the Ice Palace entrance.
I think that was our first time seeing that capacity ferry entrance, but it sure wasn't useful. Well, here's Hype Cave. At least we confirmed that's not behind GT. I was beginning to think it was.
So that'll be go mode for Humbug.
So yeah, I'm also going to throw out there that if either player had just fake flippered here, that would have been an incredible piece of information.
Yeah, but I mean, you could also find yourself doing the front of Turtle Rock, maybe even killing well, you have to kill Vitreous, but you could do the right side of GT. You could have been led astray by that game.
Yeah, but if you know you were flippers from go mode and you find the cane in a logically flippers lock spot, that's nothing but a gift, really. Because
That's fair.
The only cane checks you do are the ones that are hard required, like killing Trinex.
Well, I don't know. If you kill Trinex, I feel like you had to check the front. If you have something other than flippers left. So Breve definitely go moding. I'm sorry, Humbug definitely go moding.
Yeah, just opening the one chest is physically on the path. It's just rolling for a chance at silvers. It's logical, it's smart. They weren't there.
So I believe that we know Dam has to be at Pyramid Ferry. I'm not sure if Humbug has gone back through Spiral Cave, but I know someone has.
Yes, Humbug has been back through Spiral Cave. In fact, I think Humbug alone knows that Pyramid Ferry must be the answer. I think he's checked every other entrance in the world. Well, other than the GT entrance as well, of course, but that obviously can't be the answer, given that you would have to beat Swamp to get in.
So now Breve is going to Ice Palace.
So if Breve mirrors the moment he finds flippers, he's still behind, but maybe it's possible to catch up? Like, Breve basically just has to absolute God route from this moment on.
I mean, Breve will be in the same position Humbug was. Just needs Samaria, and if they mirror and go straight to some of those flippers entrances that they had to do, still be a minute or two behind at least. It's gonna be another minute or two before Breve even gets to the flippers.
Yeah, most likely, given that Breve is probably not going to find Kane right away and probably not going to find Dam right away. And not only that, do them in the right sequence to not full clear Ice Palace. This race is probably over.
So Humbug going straight for the Super Bomb, suggesting that we are correct that that is his last entrance in the world that he could check for the dam.
Riding the Super Bomb logic was one of the more annoying things that had to be done, so I'm always happy to see when it comes into play.
Yeah, there was a good seed where someone reported a bug because what you had to do was... What did you have to do? You had to go somewhere and set the mirror portal, then buy the super bomb and walk back to the mirror portal to avoid something.
Yeah, it's really easy for that to happen. All you need is your access to the Dark World, and thus East Dark World, to be through connectors, and you have the mirror, and the bomb shop's just in Light World. Oh man, is Humbug really not going to open that chest?
Yeah, I was going to say, Is that really not worth opening? There you go. So Breve has not left Ice Palace with the flippers.
I gotta say, that is real convenient routing, being able to drain the dam and jump right into Mire here.
Yep. And then Swamp is one of the ledges on West Death Mountain, the right side ledge.
And Turtle Rock Laser bridges at pods, so the rest of what you have isn't really going to route that cleanly, but we have Flute, we have Mitts, we have Boots. We can get around the world easily enough.
Ooh, so Breve is going to do the Super Bomb now. Get the dam. And full clear Swamp Palace, probably, before finding Samaria. Looks like Breve did leave without killing Cold Stare, at least.
Yeah, but in all honesty, even if Breve manages to avoid full clearing Swamp, which seems unlikely, like, Breve needs Humbugh to make a mistake, or for Breve to just, you know, play, I guess you'd say, inspired, just to execute so well to make up a go mode Mire.
Yeah, I mean, Humbugh has to die to Cold Stare, has to die to Ganon, things like that.
I don't think Humbugh's going to die to Cold Stare.
Vitreous, excuse me.
And in terms of Humbugh's lose conditions in these boss fights, let's remember we're looking at 15 hearts red mail. So the magnitude of mistakes required to lose a boss fight in this fight is pretty enormous. Speaking of removing your possibility of error, there's the gold sword. It doesn't save time on a lot of bosses. It does save time on Trinex, which is conveniently one of the few remaining bosses. But it certainly makes everything easier.
And you know, for a seed that started out so horribly with both players avoiding the GT climb to get the mirror in the pre-Moldorm chest to get to the Pearl on Spectral Rock, we're still going to finish less than 2:15. Or at least Humbugh is. Both in Swamp. Sadly, Breve still missing that Samaria that is at the Ice Palace entrance. We'll full clear Swamp, which takes much longer than go moding it, which Humbugh is doing.
The good news for Breve is that they probably find silver arrows here. The bad news is that's not going to pay for the time for this full clear. Like, where could silvers be if they're not in here? Front of Turtle Rock and right side GT, I guess, are both also still looming.
Right. Twitch chat. Has it been exposed to you what Jinxie Girl does to track these races? Here we go. This is amazing. Give you a couple Discord links here.
I'm also going to throw out there, I really hope that Trinex drops silver arrows, because Humbug has 0 arrows at all. That would be just really funny to me.
So now seems like a good time to thank our trackers, Jinxie Girl and let's see, the other 2D Tones. Thank you. No, that is not me, Alazun. First, you would not. Well, you would be able to understand it, but you would not be impressed by the handwriting. That is Jinxie Girl's work as tracker.
I am pretty sure I have at least once in my life lost a randomizer race from not being able to read my own handwriting.
I have never done that. I don't think I've... Well, have it? Yeah, in the very early days of entrance, I did handwritten notes.
Yeah, I do most of my tracking in the more complex randomizers I play with pencil and paper, and I'm trying to write stuff and play at the same time. The handwriting isn't always good. In fact, even in my best days, my handwriting is not good. It gets downright atrocious when I have some of my worst notes.
So it looks like Breve tried to skip left side, will now go do it in a double dip. Oh man, Tam, do we have a link to some of your handwritten notes? Who has the most illegible notes? I think Chex Human might have the most illegible notes in the entire community. I didn't think I recognized any of the individual letters in his notes. I think it looked like hieroglyphics to me.
Have you considered that maybe he was just taking notes without the Book of Mudora?
Sure. He's trying to prevent cheating. He's using encrypted shorthand. So Humbug now has 7 crystals headed to Ganon at the Magic Bat Drop. Amazing that we have not found these silver arrows. If we don't find it here on left side swamp on Breve's side, we don't have much left.
Front of TR and right side GT definitely are the main spots I would suspect them to be.
Yep. Hair Basement is another potential answer. Swamp Big Chest is another answer. That's beautiful.
And yeah, this is a pretty cozy Ganon fight. We might not have silvers, but we have everything else. 15 hearts, red mail, gold sword, boots, lamp. I'm pretty sure we have both a blue potion and a fairy in the bottles. A cape if you want it, half magic. It's pretty free for runners at this level.
Right side desert, forgot about that. Desert small key was one of the things in Hype Cave.
That being the case, it's pretty unlikely that anyone would ever find silvers this seed, because nearly inevitably your 2 main go mode items are going to be Kena Samaria and Flippers. And as soon as you check out Hype Cave, you immediately, even if you find Kane before Flippers, you know you're not going to check anything behind Hype Cave looking for Flippers, right?
Well, given that I was advocating for, I would have found Samari much earlier. I would have ended up playing this much differently because I would have gone for a fake flipper before Ganon's Tower and known about Height Cave at least, even if I couldn't get everything in there. So Breve just hit Go mode, I believe, but unfortunately has Mire and Turtle Rock and Ganon to defeat, while Humbug has to walk across a 3-tile gap.
Yeah, it's at least a little bit of consolation to be in Go mode when you see the finish, but that is a GG. Humbug has won the race with the time of 2:13.26, or 2:13.23 according to race time, but either way, that's GG for Humbug, and he will be advancing to the round of 8. I actually believe that Humbug is the first runner to finish his set.
I will have to take your word for it. Let's see, are we going to get Humbug in here? I feel like he's the kind who does not often give interviews, maybe? I don't know. I'm sure I've heard him talk. Oh, he's in the waiting room. There we go. Let's see if I can drag him in here. Yes, I can. All right, good game, Humbug.
GG, thank you.
So, fun seed with that mirror location.
No. It was not. It was... I mean, initially I wanted to climb GT with nothing but bow, hookshot, lamp, and whatever else I had in the beginning. But then I realized I didn't have a weapon to kill Moldorm, so I bailed. And then I died during the climb because, well, I was bad, just really bad. But it was so obvious from really early on that there was something up there. And when I saw Moonpearl on Spec Rock, it just, okay, the mirror's going to be up there. I know it. It's just a matter of actually getting there.
All right, so after you, well, a couple questions. So, after you died to Lamo 2, did you play the rest of the seed feeling like you were behind?
110% yes. I felt incredibly behind, and last locating my fire source, like my fire rod, didn't exactly help. That was the absolute last location that I had left.
Yeah, is there anything you think you can point to where you made a decision because you felt like you were behind? Or was that just the way it went?
No, actually not. I don't think I did. Well, dying in GT made me just, okay, screw it. I'm just gonna do Thieves Town and hope something's there. Maybe I don't have to do GT after all. I knew that was not gonna happen, but I still kind of had my hopes for it. But doing Thieves Town was good because that was a required Desert Palace big key. But no, it felt really bad finding that fire rod. But then, as the seed progressed after that, I realized that, wait, I'm gonna last locate the dam as well. Probably. At least if it's in Pyramid Fairy, which it was. So then, at that point, I didn't feel as bad, because especially the dam is at Pyramid Fairy, you're gonna last locate it no matter what. So it didn't really matter that I last located the fire rod, because I still had to check all those one-off locations looking for the dam anyway, later on. So when I found the dam and I realized I was in Go mode, I felt a bit better. But still, I died in GT, so...
Yeah, the crazy thing is, at very different times, you both had deaths in the GT climb, and it definitely would have been a big deal if, well, one of you didn't. The seed also had just the interesting intrigue, because normally you would look, it's like, fire rods in the pod entrance, and it leads to pendant Hera in the Skull Woods entrance. It has the Turtle Rock big key inside, and the green pendant leading to Ice Rod on Sahas. Like, that seems like it should be a possible stumbling point, but you just look at the rest of the seed and you're like, yeah, that's not what trips you up here.
Definitely not. And in the end, it apart from the Ice Rod on Green Pendant, which you could get like at any point after killing Moldorm, but it was really linear. You had to get the TR big key from inside there, and Fire Rod led to Ice Palace and all of that. So it felt linear in the end. My main issue though playing this was that my entrance tracker crashed 20 minutes into the game, and when I opened it back up, it didn't have any entrances marked on them. So I had to both play the game and from memory add the entrances that I had already checked to my entrance tracker. That was mentally taxing as heck. It was super hard, and I felt like I missed something, which I did. I missed marking the Smiths, which was why I thought Smiths was in CAC, so I mirrored, and then wait, I haven't marked that. Oh, right, that was just outside of them. That was just on the other side of the Smith himself.
Though, as far as I recall, that's the only entrance-related flub you made in terms of, like, checking something that you'd already checked or something like that. So,
yeah,
if you're used to playing with a tracker and you suddenly didn't have one, that's really not that bad in the grand scheme of things. Probably stressful, though.
Super stressful. I mean, I had a tracker. I managed to fill it back up. Luckily, there was like nothing important in the beginning of the game. Ice Palace was in Kakariko. That's it. That's all that was in Kakariko, apart from Ganon, of course. But, so it wasn't that much, but it was still a really stressful point where in the end, I was super scared that I had actually already found the dam, but forgot to drain it or whatever, and just never got back to it because I was stressed in the beginning trying to piece back my map. But fortunately, I knew where it was all along.
Yeah. So your read on that last location of the dam was more or less correct. What happened mostly is Breve took their death in GT a little more hard than you did, and did a bunch of bunny walking. So by the time you had both done it, you had a big exploration advantage. However, Breve was did not isolate the pod entrance, and so went with that whole chain earlier. But then the exploration advantage came back in the end because you had to find the dam, and you just were ahead.
Exactly, and I really think that the dam being where it was what made me actually being able to win the race. Had it been somewhere else, somewhere easily accessible, I would have been smoked, I think.
Breve really struggled to find that Cane of Samaria in full cleared Swamp Palace, so yeah, I guess the dam being where it was kept you from being baited into Swamp Palace.
Yeah, that actually makes sense. If you get the flippers and then go and actually find the dam before doing Ice Palace and those entrances, you're baited into Eastern, you're baited into Swamp.
Breve that was something I meant to ask you about, actually. Breve did Eastern out of logic before climbing GT, and it seemed likely you might do the same, but then you never did. What was your thought on that?
Generally, when I play these seeds, when you play it when you're getting close to a bottleneck, which the mirror was in this seed and Moonpearl, more often than not, I feel like I'm getting punished for doing stuff out of logic. I actually think that twice in this tourney alone, I managed to win a seed because I did not go out of logic. I think that GFE certainly remember one of those races, but I want to try to stay in logic regarding the bottlenecks. because otherwise it has a tendency to spiral out of control, and you have no idea where you are in the seed anymore. So I just tried to stay in logic. That was all.
Yep. And good game to Breve, who has now joined us.
Thanks.
GG.
Yes.
So to fill you in, both of you more or less had the same problems, although you had them a little bit worse, and that made the difference. And the sequence at the end.
I'd say really the biggest difference was you both had a death in the GT climb. I think about at the same point in the climb too, roughly. But the biggest thing was that Humbugh went back without doing all the bunny walk stuff, and you did not.
Yeah, I felt like, maybe I'm not later than Humbugh going in, but he probably didn't die in the climb, so I better because we had the castle key really early, right? And I thought maybe there's a dark world entrance to the castle, and that has another exit in the light world. Maybe that's how I'm supposed to get the mirror or something. Even though I knew it was probably GT, but I was like, let's hope it's not, because I've probably put myself behind here.
But yeah, it actually was really interesting you got into the game after that point, because we were just talking about this with Humbugh a bit. There was a long stretch in which you were actually materially ahead, but it was kind of fake because Humbugh had checked so many more entrances that he had an exploration lead on you, but you just had the sort of important items a little bit earlier in the back half of the seed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could imagine that. I was trying to decide when to hunt for the dam and when to just do ice. Should have stuck with ice earlier than I did. Yeah.
If it makes you feel better, it seems likely had you stuck with ice, you still would have lost. You just would have lost by about 1 minute instead of about 7.
Sure. Yeah, and I'd also have had to bank on Kane being in swamp at that point, which is why I went back for left side, even though I knew Hype Cave was one of the few entrances left, but could have just been GT. So.
Yeah, Hype Cave looming in the end just felt like, okay, just do every entrance looking for Hype Cave. Well, at least that was my thinking. Just find Hype Cave and then full clear swamp for all you want. But yeah.
Yeah, I think if the bomb shop hadn't been exactly where it was, I wouldn't have done it straight away after ice, and I would have gone and checked those two and got Kane before swamp. But I was like, I don't want to come back here if the dam is in Pyramid Ferry, which it was, but still that meant at that point I was like, I guess I'll do swamp now and hope that it's just on the way.
Yeah, had it been in swamp, it would have been a lot closer, probably.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's cool. I guess I can feel a little bit better about my GT climb in that case.
I'm really sad about that climb. Doing fighter sword and hammer landmolas. Good God, that fight is awful.
You didn't do NMG landmola. I tried.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. You have the NMG equipment for normal landmo, except there's a Medusa in the room and you have 3 arrows. So, okay, sure, this is probably what I'm supposed to do, but it's awful and I don't want to do it.
I mean, you guys at least had a hammer. I mean, come on. There's nothing guaranteeing you would have had to have that with that climb being required.
Yeah, fair. And like I said earlier, I was initially planning on doing that just with the bow. But then I realized that's dumb. Let's not do that.
It was even worse because you only had 17 arrows at the time. I actually remember specifically commenting on that. I'm like, I thought better of that. It's in logic, but good luck.
Yeah, that would have been a bad call. I'm glad I stopped myself in time before I actually went into GT. I was halfway there or whatever. But yeah, it was a nerve-wracking seed. This was semi-enjoyable. Let's put it like that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's a lot than the first one.
I was actually really tentative in the end there when I went and found Hera, and I still didn't have the flippers, and I mirrored to check ped, and if flippers would have been on ped for the second seed in a row, that would have been something. That would have been way more enjoyable.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm actually gonna head off here. Thanks for hosting this and commentating and tracking. It was a lot of fun. And GG to Brev again.
GG's. Yeah,
Yep.
best of luck in the rest of the bracket. I'll be watching.
Thanks.
Good game to both of you. Congratulations to Humbugh, who is moving on now. And thank you to our trackers, and thank you to both of our runners for putting on playing a very interesting seed and making it very interesting.
You're welcome, I guess.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, also
Bye.
thanks.
See ya.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll just say as well, thanks for hosting, being on the restream, and everyone for watching. And yeah, thanks for the tournament. I've had a lot of fun and got further than I thought I would. So yeah, it's good.
Yep, good game. So I do not know what is next on Zelda Speedruns.
I should
Correct.
know, but I don't. It looks
You
like
mean it's not on your whiteboard, Jinxie?
it's not on my whiteboard. I did just pull up the schedule. It looks like we do have some more tentative Crosskeys games scheduled. It looks like Goomba and Scoople playing around 10 p.m. tonight, I think, Eastern. I think that's probably the last one. We do have Majora's Mask Randomizer Season 2 Tournament, Losers Bracket Round 2, A Slayer versus Keizo Bro. That's going on right now, and actually we'll just head over there. I think for now that is all we have here on ZSR, but if anything else pops up, be sure to tune in. As always, thank you guys so much. Okay, 6 p.m. I'm sorry, I can't read. I don't feel very well. But thanks everybody for tuning in. Please be sure to join us for some more of the exciting Crosskeys matches here on ZSR. And let's raid on over to Zelda Speedruns too. Thanks again to our wonderful commentators, HiQ-Type, as well as Amazing Ambrose, who put on a wonderful show for us today. Apologies to the runners for the horrible seed I rolled, but you knew what you were getting into because I kind of have a reputation for it. And yeah, so be sure to stick around. Lots more fun to be had. That is a cat. I just rescued him Monday from a construction site. I am a crazy person, so apologies for the meowing. But yeah, have a great night, and we will catch you soon here on ZSR.